that they might no longer be two, but one flesh. What you are pleased to make one must never be divided.
Hey, it's John from BleepinJeep, and if you're like me, you love the Jeep Cherokee XJ. These things are incredibly capable, they're a great size, but they weren't the most economical. The 4.0 is a great engine, but it's not the best on gas, and powerful enough, but this one just didn't have any life left in it. It had the 0331 head, being a 2001. The previous owner ran it hot, cracked the head, which ended up sending a rod through the block. So it wasn't, definitely wasn't worth fixing that engine. Sure, I could have dropped another 4.0 into it, but I've been driving this TDI for a couple years and just love the fuel economy of it. Great power. I tuned it up just a little bit while it was in the car and absolutely loved that engine. But the Volkswagen, if you're a Volkswagen person, sorry, but it's just not an exciting car. There's a lot you can do with them, I guess, but it just, for me, being that low to the ground, not having any ground clearance, not having any traction, I wanted a Jeep. This is the 5th one that I've had, and this one came from somebody that I know. She had it a couple years, bought it from her uncle who bought it new, so I knew the history on it. Wanted to try something different and get actually excited about a Cherokee again with some real fuel economy. So I'm hoping this TDI puts out close to the same horsepower numbers as a 4.0. Theoretically, that's very possible. Plus, it's all really down low in the RPM range. Very torquey engines. It's a lot smaller than the 4.0. It's actually lighter than the 4.0. It is, I think, an ideal platform for the TDI, the 1.9.
Good afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about TDI XJ. What are some things that you need to consider before taking on a project like this? And there will be time for some Q&A, so please leave some comments below and we'll be sure to discuss it.
Are you with me? Let's get started. Now, number one question, budget. How much do you budget for such a project? I would say $5,000 to $6,500. It's a very comfortable budget. I'm about there myself, and you could do it a little bit cheaper depending on what things you already have, what things you can make, fabricate yourself, things like that. I haven't hardly paid anyone to do anything on mine, but I have bought some things that I needed that maybe you don't. So maybe the very minimum, probably $4,000, and but comfortably $5,000 to $6,000. Next big question: will this little bitty 1.9 liter engine be able to power such a massive vehicle as the Jeep Cherokee? Absolutely, it's a turbo diesel. There's no replacement for displacement, as they say, unless you have a turbo. So, the engine will make enough power. You can have it tuned. I have mine tuned stage 3, stock turbo, bigger injector nozzles, and making about 135 horsepower, 240 foot-pounds of torque. And, there's plenty of people out there running 300 foot-pounds of torque out of these engines, and they just whiz along. So, yes, enough power, absolutely. Which engine? Which engine? There are a lot of Volkswagen TDIs out there that have come out over the years and been used in various vehicles. Which one do you want? That's up to you. They're all great engines. The earlier VE pump engines that I'm using, such as the ALH, were available in Golfs, Beetles, and the Jetta, of course, from 1999 to 2003, yes. And the later versions, the next engine that came out is a Pump Deuce engine.
and they have some issues with cams and things like that. But if you don't mind replacing a cam, those are a great engine, and they do make a little bit more power. But yeah, that's up to you. So research the engine options available to you out there, and kind of what level of comfort you have with the electronics and some of the parts availability for you. The ALH parts are quite inexpensive, and they're quite basic engines. They're not very complex. You can even make it a manual pump, which means you don't need all the electronics, but that does require some knowledge of tuning and things of that nature. And I just chose to use the electronics because it's a much more modern vehicle, the Jeep Cherokee, and I want to use it for a daily driver. So, at that out of the way, let's talk about the adapter. The adapters, there's a couple of them out there now, but the one that I liked was the TD Conversions adapter. Go to tdconversions.com right now. Pull up your laptops and your tablets and go there. And see what they have to offer. It's about $1,500 US for their adapter and their mounts, but it comes with a starter, which is a nice product to have along with that. It's a great little starter, high torque, and that's all available from TD Conversions. The mounts that they give you will bolt into the Jeep on the frame, and then you have to weld them together to the angle that you set it at. Their adapter is clockable, so you can change the angle of the engine in the engine bay. My engine is roughly vertical, and the mounts then are, of course, welded for that position. Yes, James.
Do it has to move the engine forward?
Yes, you do have to move the engine forward. I was just getting to that. The engine needs to be moved forward about 2 inches. And the reason for that is not because the engine would have to be cut into the firewall otherwise. It's because there's a vacuum pump attached to the back of the head, and that vacuum pump would need to be serviced at some point, perhaps, and you don't want to have to pull the whole engine out just for such a silly job. So you need room. The pump is about 2 inches thick. You need about 2 inches between the engine and the firewall. So that's why you need to consider putting the engine that far forward. Also, balance could be a concern with the engine being so much shorter than a 4.0. As well as, of course, the TD Conversions mounts don't go that far back. Just where the 4.0 was mounted, the Volkswagen engine is now that much further back anyway. The mounts can only be so far forward. You don't want to get into making custom mounts and all that. The frame widens a little bit behind where that's mounted, and that would be a whole mess. Wiring. Wiring is another big topic. Wiring is very daunting for some people. Wiring does need to be addressed, of course, if you're keeping it electronic. That would be another bonus for doing manual pump, but like a mechanical pump. But it's to each his own, and I wanted to keep the electronics. Now, the wiring, though, there is a great option. Fast Forward Automotive. For about $950, he takes all of your Volkswagen plugs and puts them on brand new wires to your specified lengths so that you can connect everything easily and don't have to worry about old wires failing or anything like that. Also, for some things such as cruise control and the throttle pedal, you don't have to try to rip all of those systems out of the Volkswagen. You need to save the throttle pedal, talk about that next, but you don't need to pull all of that wiring from that. You just clip the plug. They also take care of deleting systems such as the immobilizer, the EGR, the anti-shutter valve, which is part of the EGR, and the, the mass airflow sensor. Don't need that because that really just works in the EGR system. So yes, he takes care of the tuning of your ECU to tell the computer not to look for those things anymore because they're not going to find them. Wiring, Fast Forward, Automotive, get yourself a nice wiring harness. Just do it. Donor items. What do you need to pull from the donor car? I'll be talking about this in a later class. But donor items, of course, you need the engine. You need the engine computer, ECU. You need the wiring harness, as I said. You want the throttle pedal from inside. You clip the plug from that. You may want to save some other things like the vacuum canister, the coolant accumulator, the radiator, depending on what you're setting it up in. The Volkswagen radiator is too tall for the Jeep Cherokee. Turbo. The VNT15 on the ALH engines, you can use that at turbo. It does fit. It does work. It'll move the vehicle along. Stage 3 is about the maximum you can tune it with for that turbo to be effective. And there's a VNT17 also from Garrett that you can use. I do know of some people that are using some other options and quite happy with how they're fitting. Gauges. What are you going to do about gauges? I mean, clearly you just need to pull that Volkswagen cluster out and stick it in the Jeep, right? Wrong. Don't do that. Use your stock Jeep gauges. You'll just need to plumb in somewhere a coolant sensor, a oil pressure sensor. I put mine on the where the oil filter is. You'll also need to put the 2 wires from your Jeep alternator to the Volkswagen alternator. Sending unit for the fuel, that can stay the same and your fuel gauge will read. Your speedometer, the vehicle speed sensor in the transfer case, that can stay the same. Now, tachometer is a little bit of a different story. You'll probably want the cam position sensor and crank position sensor wires, and save the crank position sensor from the 4.0. Those are what's going to feed a converter to get that tachometer alive inside of your Jeep gauge cluster. I will talk more about that as I learn, because I haven't crossed that bridge yet. But that's what you're going to need for that, or you can also do something like Tiny Tack or other options for running a diesel tachometer. Clutch and flywheel. Probably going to need a custom clutch and a flywheel from a Volkswagen van again, right? What? No. It's Jeep. Use a Jeep clutch, Jeep flywheel. I'm using a Center Force flywheel. It's the 700-469 is the part number. It's their high inertia flywheel. Just a little engine like this crawling along on the trail. High inertia gives it a little bit more of a momentum, rotating mass. So it purrs along, crawls over some objects. Will you need a lift on your vehicle? Yes. Yes, you will. Trying to do this in a vehicle with a stock suspension, forget it. I've got about a 3.5-inch lift on mine, and it's perfect. You could go higher, of course. I've also got an Iron Rock off-road track bar, which I flipped. Not sure that's recommended. I'm not sure how it handles yet. We'll find out. If I die, I can't sue anybody because I didn't follow the instructions. What I did was I pressed out the sleeves and the bushings so that I could run the big bolt in the top and the bottom and flipped it around. So normally an Iron Rock track bar, the adjustable end is in the frame side, and I flipped it so the adjustable is down on the axle and the solid end is at the frame. To be determined. Tune in later to find out how that goes for me. Texas. No, we're at tools. Well, let me get ahead of myself. Tools. What tools are you going to need? Anything special? Do you need a lift in your garage? Do you need a welder? Yes, you need a welder. You don't need a lift in your garage, but it would certainly be nice. You're going to need your regular hand tools. You're going to buy some tools along the way, no doubt. Yes, you're going to want a welder because you're going to need to put together those mounts from TD conversions. You're going to want to do frame stiffeners and build bumpers and join metal together with electricity. It's just cool. Learn how to weld. Texas. Yeehaw! Air conditioning. If you live in Texas, you're going to want to figure out air conditioning. If you get there before I do, let me know how you did it. Stage 2 of my build is going to be talking more about air conditioning. The air conditioner on this really can't stay where it was because it's going to be knocking heads with the pumpkin. That's the differential on the driver's side of the front axle. The air conditioner on the ALH was down there by the below the alternator, basically below the oil pan, and not a lot of clearance with that in there. So I'm going to have to move it to the passenger side, And to do that, we'll figure it out when we get there. Right now, it's 30 degrees and I'm not thinking about air conditioning. So I just want to drive my Jeep. Battery cables. You're going to want to upgrade your battery cables because, well, the little 1.9 liter baby engine needs a little bit more cranking power in the winter than your 4.0 did. So get some beefy battery cables. Just go ahead and do it. Me and Lemons, check them out. And battery cables, you want to go with something heavy duty, some 2 gauge, 0 gauge, something like that. And your alternator now is also on the driver's side. It was on the passenger side with the 4.0. So that's going to need a longer cable. I left my battery in the stock location, so everything else really, the starters are down there, same area as it was. Your cables can all be the same length as they were for the 4.0, but upgrade them. Just do it. How much time is it going to take? Can I do this in a couple weekends with a couple buddies and a lot of beers? Yeah, maybe. Got some good buddies and some good beers. Not too good. But yeah, I would say plan for 3 to 4 months if you're able to work on it pretty significantly throughout the week and on the weekends. But it all depends on how much of this kind of thing you've done in the past. And if you have help, that's great. I don't. If you have help, it might go faster. If you don't mind being a little bit sloppy with running wires here and there and everywhere. And that's it for now. Next time we'll talk about the donor items and lots of other great things. Have a great afternoon.
I think all the bolts pulled, the whole back of the trans and transfer case is sitting on my floor jack, hoist is in place, and I think we're ready to rock. Let's pick this thing out of here, roll the Jeep back, and we should be at a clear engine bay.
Thanks for watching. If you're interested in following the build, learning with me as I go here, I've got tons more content coming out about this TDI XJ. So go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe for all the updates. You can also support us on Patreon, so check that out, and I'll see you next time.